Hey guys, Sean here, back for another production tutorial. So in today's tutorial, we're going to take a look at some of the interesting synth sounds we can make using the Reason Rack plugin in Ableton Live. Okay, so I made this quick loop yesterday, but all of the synth sounds you're going to hear were created using the Reason Rack plugin. So let's take a listen. Okay, so it's a little weird. It could be the start of a song idea, but I think I came up with some pretty interesting synth sounds. So the synth we're going to take a look at in particular is this sound here. So this sound here was created using a synthesizer called Thor. If you're a Reason user watching this video, you're probably already familiar with this device. So as you can see here, all of my instruments are being routed to this instruments bus with some sidechain compression going on. I'm just going to disable that and we can dive in. I'm going to right click and duplicate this track. I'm going to solo it. I'm going to reset our devices so that we can rebuild this patch from the ground up. So let's just have a listen to the initialized patch. So as this is a monophonic patch, we're going to make sure our keyboard mode up here is set to mono retrig so that we don't have any clashing notes. So we're going to make sure our first oscillator is set to analog. We're going to make this a square wave. Make sure to set the pulse width dial to a value of 64 so that we get a pure square wave. So next we're just going to jump over to our amp envelope to make the sound a little more plucky. We're going to turn the sustain all the way down. We're going to set our decay value to about 1.9 or 2 seconds. And we're going to turn our release up a small bit and we get this sound. Next, we're going to adjust our filter cutoff to about 1K. In our filter envelope, we're going to apply a similar curve to what we have in our amp envelope. And we're going to adjust the envelope amount to taste. Okay, so here's the interesting part. We're going to add a noise oscillator to slot 2. But instead of routing the audio through the filter and into our audio path, we're going to use it to modulate the frequency of oscillator 1. Now I don't want you to freak out at this because it's not as complicated as you think. Because of the modular-like layout of Thor's interface, we can pretty much make anything modulate anything else. And this is where the Modulation Matrix comes into play. We're going to set our source to oscillator 2, which is our noise oscillator, and the destination to oscillator 1's frequency. Now let's have a listen to what happens as we increase the amount. Sounds pretty interesting. Now let's set it to a small amount around, say, 28 or so. Now in the same way our filter envelope is affecting the filter cutoff, we can also shape the way the noise is affecting our square wave by setting our scale to filter envelope and setting the amount to 100. Let's take a listen. Okay, so the complicated part is over. Let's add some effects. I'm going to add a new device down here. I'm going to go to Effects, scroll all the way up here to the Quartet Chorus Ensemble. It sounds great, but let's just dial the mix back to something a little more subtle. Next, we're going to add some delay. Again, I'm going to add a device. I'm going to go to Effects, scroll up here to the Echo. I'm going to adjust the dry wet down to about 30%, set the delay time to 1/8 notes, and let's dial in some repeats. Again, it sounds great, but we're just going to add in a little bit of modulation and use the filter just to shape the sound of the repeats a little bit. Okay, so back in Ableton, let's just make sure this is routed to our instruments bus. We're going to mute our original track, turn back on our sidechain compression, and let's hear what it sounds like in the mix. Okay, so there's a quick look at some of the interesting sounds you can create using the Reason Rack plugin. Make sure you give this video a like if you enjoyed this video or you found it useful. If you want to see some more content from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Alright guys, thanks for watching and hopefully we'll see you in the next video.